Hi Glendale, I'm Meg Keller.
And I'm Harper Brady.
And you're watching the 6th episode of the Glendale 411. The new Apple Watch is out with many new features.
Connor Skinner and Ryan Harp have the story.
We're thrilled by how much the Apple Watch has grown in such a short period of time. I mean,
The Apple Watch Series 4 just came out with many new features. Anywhere from new design to new apps, it's the same story as it is every year. Except at the end of the launch event, they announced something revolutionary. The new watch gets a consumer-grade EKG scanner built in. The Apple Watch Series 4 is the first smartwatch to get FDA clearance for EKG monitoring.
So an ECG stands for electrocardiogram. It's a voltage time graph. In layman's term, it's measuring the electrical activity and stimulation of the heart. So an ECG shows us the electrical conduction that happens within the heart. Traditionally, it starts in the top chambers called the atrium, and the conduction activity travels down into the bottom chambers, which are the muscular pumps that pump blood to the rest of your body. We can see the electrical stimulation on an EKG as it travels through each structure individually.
So how does it work? It has electrodes on the back of the watch and in the digital crown that measure your heart's electrical pulses. By holding your finger on the crown while the watch is on your wrist, these sensors work together to perform an EKG.
So traditionally, an ECG would tell us whether or not the electrical forces in the heart are what we would consider normal conduction versus abnormal. Probably the most valuable aspect of an ECG is our ability to determine whether or not a patient is in the correct rhythm. There are other aspects of EKGs that give us ideas about the structure and function of the heart itself, but primarily an ECG gives us the best understanding of what the actual rhythm itself is.
One Glendale student dedicates her time to art.
John Craigmile and Michelle Lewis have the story.
Glendale student Natalie Ross has been interested in art ever since she was a little girl.
I began to create artwork when I was really little because my mom is an artist and all of my family is just super artistic. I've continued to pursue art because my mom has really encouraged me a lot, and I think it's really cool to see my creative ideas come to life.
Recently, Natalie was able to see her own artwork display at the Missouri Secondary Art Exhibition.
The show that Natalie was in was put on by Missouri State University, and it invited high school art teachers from around the state to submit their own work. And so I entered my own artwork and was accepted into the show. And so then I was able to select 3 students' work to show along with my own. I tried to get a student work that I believed should get some recognition, students that really put a lot of work into their art. And so I entered Natalie's artwork.
The piece that was at this art show was a pen and ink portrait that I did of my mom. The background is like ripped paper. It just kind of resembled like how her life is messy and scattered. My concentration for portfolio is women who have gone through a lot, and so I've been taking pictures of all of these women in my life that I know.
She has been, related to those people and thinking about their specific stories, and I think that informs her artwork quite a bit.
The portrait of my mom means a lot to me because she's played a huge role in my life, and she's the reason that I've liked art. She's the one that's encouraged me to keep pursuing art.
One of Glendale's most memorable teachers is retiring after this year.
Hannah Martin and Cadence Garrison have the story.
At the end of this year, Glendale High School will be losing its longest-serving teacher. You may be surprised who it is.
This would be my 28th year with Glendale, and I decided to retire at the end of this year, and it just seemed like a good transition year. I started thinking about it about maybe 4 years ago when my son Andrew came to Glendale. So I feel like I'm graduating with my son, and we're both going to be moving on to the next chapter of our life. I've met a lot of great teachers through the years. I have students now who are my colleagues, and they have become people that will always be part of my life.
Senora Pettinger was my Spanish 2 teacher here at Glendale High School. She's kind of like the reason I became a Spanish teacher. Not seeing her every day will be a really difficult adjustment, for sure.
After so long, you have seen A lot of people come and go, even ideas and concepts for what's best for students and what is the best way to reach them. All that changes. But the one thing that remains is students. The best way I see it to help them and to support them and to do what's best for them is to keep the student in mind, number one.
She's taught me everything I know. Everything I know about Spanish, certainly. Started with Senora Pettinger, and she continues to teach me things every single day. It will be really difficult, if not impossible, to replace somebody like Alma because she's just extremely professional and dedicated to her craft, to her profession, to her students.
I hope people remember me that I just like kids. I hope that's something that shows. I am in this job because I enjoy being around students. Even when I'm trying to teach him something tough and be firm with them through discipline or whatever may not be the most enjoyable thing for them that is coming from me, I hope they know that I'm doing it because I care about them.
She's really irreplaceable. She's a wonderful teacher, all the way around, inside and out.
After you've been in a place for as long as I have been at Glendale, it's just kind of hard to leave and not to feel that it is your home and is where you belong. I feel that I've impacted students, and that's something that I will never forget.
Over 250 students, parents, and teachers attended Flock Together.
Cameron Clymer and Mackenzie Monty have the story.
On the issue of mental health, 17% of our students have seriously considered suicide, which is about 142 people.
Flock Together was an event we hosted here at Glendale, and it was mainly by the peer mediators and also a bit of Stuco members. And essentially what we did is we got the community together, like parents and students at Glendale, and we discussed some important topics and problems facing our school, and then we facilitated discussions about those to come up with some solutions and understand how the community feels about these issues.
Students got to share everything, the struggles, the needs, the wants, and that really was our motivation, that this was student-led. That's why Blaze was the one who led the most, talked the most at the beginning.
I think the Glendale community reacted to Flock Together pretty well, but didn't really know much about it, so it was really just a whole thing to better everyone's experience at high school.
I was the person to coordinate all these different people working together and try to do it in a smooth way, in a process, so that it could be what it was, which was getting everybody together and getting some good dialogue.
I was one of the peer mediators. I was a facilitator, and I was talking to the parents about the problems at Glendale and what they think that they should, what we should do about it to change it.
My role is, first, I was a facilitator, so I helped lead discussions about these issues, but I also was the presenter who told the parents like all the different facts about the problems that we're facing in Glendale. I think Flock Together is going to shed some new light on some of these issues because a lot of parents and even students don't really know some of the problems that other students may face here at Glendale. And so I think it's really created a more educated community for us, and now we can learn what's happening and focus on how we can mitigate those problems.
Thanks for watching.
Make sure to check out our social media at the Glendale 411.
Signing off, I'm Harper Brady.
And I'm Meg Keller.